So one of my hobbies is finding really profitable website directories that are hidden in plain sight. The website directories I'm going to go over today are super profitable. I know these $1 million a year directory videos, they can give a get rich quick vibe that I'm always actively against. I don't want to make it seem like it's easy to create these websites, but it does show you how far you can go and how you can actually start with a directory and eventually turn it into an entire community and an entire brand. These are website directories at the core, but they've become so much more. Some of these websites have grown to 8 different ways that they monetize their website, which is all contributing to the massive amount of revenue that they make a year. So in this video, we're going to talk about these websites, what they're doing from an SEO front. We're going to talk about the different monetization strategies, and we're going to try to understand what is the life cycle of this website and how long did it take them? How did they position themselves to get to $1 million plus a year? One common issue that I'm noticing as I'm talking to a lot of people building their first directories is that there's almost too many categories that some of you are going for. I just want to remind you that you want to go hyper specific. You almost want to find a niche within a niche within a niche. And as we dive into some of the keywords that these massive websites are ranking for, this actually unlocks a new way of finding these keyword ideas. So we'll dive into that and I'll show you how you can kind of use this method to look for new ideas. So we're going to look at 3 different websites today. 2 of them are making well over $1 million a year. I think some of them are definitely in the 8-figure range. One doesn't quite hit the $1 million mark a year, but it's so interesting and it's still really profitable and an amazing website that I had to share it. The first website directory on the list is rentafriend.com, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You can come here to rent friends to hang out with you for all sorts of different types of activities, travel buddies, workout buddies, you name it. Kind of interesting, right? Now, this is the website directory that I don't think scratches the $1 million a year mark, but it's kind of the honorable mention because it is such an interesting niche. Basically, if I type in Los Angeles, so we can see a directory of people that have listed themselves as a friend for rent. Now, this website's getting almost 60,000 monthly visitors. It's been around for a long time. It was started in 2009, and we can see all the way back 10 years ago, it wasn't getting all that much traffic. But if you think about just where our society and culture is going, it makes a lot of sense that even though they built this website 16 years ago now, the problem of finding friends is a very, very real challenge and a very real issue, especially as an adult. And so this graph has just kind of slowly grown over time, and it started making really big leaps right around 2020. It went from, a peak of 29,000 monthly visitors all the way to 90,000 monthly visitors. We all know that businesses like Zoom skyrocketed because work from home. I was always curious, what other businesses skyrocketed because of this insane global pandemic that happened? And this is I don't know if recession-proof is the right word, but this is a global pandemic-proof website. I just remembered back in 2020, I was running my footwear business, and I remember thinking, wow, my business is so vulnerable to what has happened and it's completely out of my control. And so having a directory that is solving a problem that's going to be around for a very, very long time, you're thinking to the future and you're able to build something that's well protected based on where you think the world is going. Before we go into more SEO stuff, I want to show you the website here. This is the actual directory. They're very, very profile based. It's different than your typical location based directory, but people can fill out this information, where they're from, what their name is, I guess some information about their physique. There's over 44,000 friends from all over the world. The user interface is breaking, which doesn't stop it from getting a lot of traffic because of the issue that it's solving. And then you can contact this person. And this is where we see their first monetization strategy, which is they sell a membership. And this is a $19.99 a month membership that they offer for people who want to go and rent Carl or other people in general. I believe it is free to list yourself as a friend for hire, but if you actually want to go and message them and rent them, then you have to pay $19.99 a month. They just charge you money to access these people. The incentive for the people is, obviously it's a side hustle. They're able to make money. Maybe they're able to make new friends. Kind of seems like a speed run to find creepy people, but that's okay. I don't want to judge. I get it. I get the appeal. It makes a lot of sense to me, so I don't want to knock it. It's interesting that they have these filters too, because they make it very clear in their FAQ section that they are not a dating website. They're not a website to promote illicit activities, sex workers, right? Yet the only filters kind of point to this being one of the main use cases. But my point is it's really simple. And I'm so surprised that it's been 16 years since this website has launched. It's not a good looking website. The filters are pretty bad. They're not specific. Yet it still sits as the largest rent-a-friend website. Once you pay for Carl or whatever friend that you're trying to rent, they basically just say, all right, cool, like you can contact this person and see their email and phone number. They don't facilitate anything. They don't even take money from Carl based on how much he charges. So if he charges $10 an hour, they just get to keep that $10 an hour. They don't ask for marketplace fees or anything like that. If we're trying to figure out how much money this website is making based on 60,000 monthly visitors, we have the memberships and we also have these ads. So this is Google AdSense, and they have another ad placement here. I would probably estimate Google AdSense brings in around $4,000 a month, give or take 1,000. And so it's not a lot of money, but they make the bulk of their money through their membership. At 60,000 monthly visitors, if they were to just get a 2% conversion rate at $19.99 a month, I think it ends up being around $300,000 a year. But if their conversion rate's closer to 5%, that could go up to $700,000 a year. Now let's talk about what this website's doing from an SEO perspective that has allowed them to stay rank 1 for the last 16 years. So a couple quick points is, rent a friend is a great domain, right? That's probably an exact match keyword for what people are typing into Google if they are looking to rent someone for hire. It's not really structured in a way that most SEO optimized websites are. Usually this first text would be a header 1, but we don't see that here. Their on-page SEO is pretty bad. This is actually a great example because on-page SEO can take you extremely far when it comes to a low competition niche. And that's what I recommend people do when they first start out. Just create a directory in a space where no one else is creating a directory. But what Rent a Friend has done really well, and the way they've been able to maintain their rank 1, page 1 ranking is purely through backlinks. If we look at the types of backlinks that they're getting, wow, yeah, they have a lot of really high quality backlinks. Some of these backlinks, Side Hustle Nation is bringing 2,000 monthly visitors just from that single backlink. Backlinks have and will continue to be the main signal of trust and authority for Google to rank your website. If you think about it, it's so easy to spin up a blog nowadays, and it's so easy to put a keyword in a header. How is Google seeing your website as the reputable source that is deserving of page 1, rank 1? If you have not one, not two, but dozens of these backlinks from high authority websites that are trusted by Google, not only mentioning you, but delivering traffic to your website, that is the hallmark of a quality backlink. So keep an eye on how many backlinks are actually resulting into traffic, because there's a lot of them for Rent a Friend. A lot of these websites are very authoritative, right? They have high domain rating. They're very, very reputable with Google. So it makes sense. The cool kid on the block's talking about you. Now you're the cool kid because you're in with the cool kids. Kind of how it works. And then let's take a look at their referring domains. Just look at this. They have referring domains from massive websites: The Guardian, Patreon, Business Insider, Yahoo, Substack, HuffPost, Time. It just keeps going on. This is probably the most impressive list of referring domains that I've seen in a little bit. The backlinks are carrying this website to victory. Let's take a look at some of their organic keywords here. They rank for a lot of keywords, but look how quickly it declines, right? Look at this traffic column here and how quickly it goes down to just 30 monthly visitors, which tells me that most of their traffic is coming from branded keywords, so people looking for rentafriend.com exactly, and the backlinks, right? We saw the backlinks bringing a lot of traffic, right? These are all bringing in like 1,000 visitors a month. So what does that tell me? It tells me that this is an actual established brand at this point. It's top of mind. People think of rentafriend.com when they are looking to rent a friend. So it's going to be very difficult to compete with that. And that's why they can get away with lackluster on-page SEO, because they don't need it. Kind of similar to how Gucci or Prada, they don't need an SEO optimized website because their reputation is already so strong. and they can continue to stay number one. Okay, so for the second directory, we have boardgamegeek.com. This is an insanely impressive website, first of all. They have 8 different types of monetization methods that I found, and there may even be more. So this is a directory around board games, but honestly, it has grown to so much more than that. They have a convention, they have a marketplace where people buy and sell different board games. They also have sponsored ads, as we can see right here on the very top. They have merch, they have donations, which, I actually did find people who donate money to this website. So they just have a lot of things going on, but at the core, this is a directory website for board games. And we can see that here if we click on browse. You can click on categories and choose different categories that will show you different board games that you can choose from. In a way, like right here, this reminds me of a mini Reddit just for board games specifically, because you can see how many people hearted Gloomhaven, has 10,000 likes essentially. Just notice with this example how much data enrichment that they've gone and done, right? They have the name, they have how many players this is for, average playing time, all sorts of information. They have, ratings, they have forums, images. They have so much data enrichment that this is actually a very, very useful and helpful tool. I doubt that they actually started out this way. They've obviously put in a lot of time and resources to make this into a useful website directory. They even included different links here, which I assume are different types of, are these affiliate links? So we may earn a commission when you buy through these links. So these are affiliate links for different board games that are listed on eBay. So that's another monetization strategy. It's extremely impressive. They also have videos, right? So they're differentiating their content. They have user-generated content from the reviews. Just an overall amazing website. This is a good look into just how far you need to take it and how thorough your directory should be if you want it to be really, really valuable. Because based on the traffic this is getting, which is a whopping 2.7 million monthly visitors, a lot of people agree that Board Game Geek is the place to go to for anything board game related. I don't know about you, but personally, board games have kind of blown up in my personal friend groups. I feel like board games have re-entered the culture in a very, very big way. I've even started playing Magic the Gathering for the first time with my friends, and we're always looking for different ways to connect and not just be on our phones when we hang out. And looking at this chart, we can see even 10 years ago, they were already getting 1 million monthly visitors. They hit their peak back in, looks like late 2017, where they hit 4 million monthly visitors. They're totally resilient to the Google Core updates. I think that's pretty obvious from this chart. We can see from the 1 year that they're just continuing to stay steady. They're definitely trending towards growth here. It's somewhat evergreen because you do have your legacy board games like Monopoly, for example, but you also have updated versions and collaborations, different types of Monopolies that come out, so you do have to constantly update that data, but there's always going to be a fan base and an audience for that OG version of Monopoly, right? And I assume that's the case for a lot of these board games. There's interest in the new stuff and there's interest in the old stuff. Now, let's look at some of their most visited pages. So they have a total of 395,000 indexed pages, and their homepage gets a majority of that traffic. The second most visited page for them is this link right here, and it's traditional card games that should be played more. And it's basically directory listings for different traditional games. And look at when these were added. These were added 16 years ago in 2009, and some of these comments are super old. They're from 2010, this one's from 2013, 2009. This entire page was edited on May 2nd, 2009, yet it still gets almost 50,000 monthly searches, and that speaks to the evergreen nature of some of these legacy board games. I mean, they never go out of style. No matter what age you are, you can still have fun with them. It doesn't become outdated. By the way, this page alone ranks for 2,500 keywords. Kind of insane. And yeah, it ranks on the first page for massive keywords like card games. Rank 3 on the first page. It just goes to show that directories are ranking so well on Google, and they have been for decades. I feel like right now there's kind of a rebirth of directories. People are making content. I'm making content around it because I've been making them for the last 2+ years now, but they've been around. Not only been around, but grown into these entire communities. I mean, It's pretty ridiculous when you think about how big these businesses are. But yeah, if we go down the list, we'll notice a lot of their highest traffic pages are more directory related pages. This is very, very simple. It gets 44,000 monthly visitors. And here's another interesting thing that makes this niche so good is if you look at a lot of programmatic directories, the most traffic pages are typically, in my case, location pages. It would be Dog Park Los Angeles, and then it would be listings of all the dog parks in Los Angeles. Those are typically what gets the most traffic. Usually the listing itself won't get that much traffic, but this is a different situation. If we look at the third most visited web page, that's not the homepage, it gets 34,000 monthly visitors. And it's Gloomhaven. It's the one that we were just looking at. It's rare to see the actual listing page for these directories get an insane amount of search. It's just typically not what we see, right? Especially with location-based directories, which I like to build. They found a way to capitalize on the fame of board games and the search volume that's getting, as well as more broad category type keywords like card games for adults, right? Those are a little bit more broad. Cool, so let's talk about some of the monetization methods. At first, I thought it was really just ads, but I was so wrong. So of course they have ads right here. They have sponsored content. They have affiliate marketing, which we found. They also accept donations. So I actually found this Reddit post from 6 years ago from this guy who was basically saying, hey, we should all support and donate to Board Game Geek. And it has a ton of engagement, 326 comments, almost 700 upvotes. And if we go to their website here, they do say that it takes a lot of resources and time to run these websites, and you can become a patron by donating money, and then you can get these different badges here. So they also have their own store and marketplace where you can find everything from merch, different types of clothing, to all sorts of board game related stuff. And this is the official store for Board Game Geek. So I assume this is a massive revenue driver for them. Now, I mentioned they have a convention, and they have it seems like once a year. Based on this page here, it's a huge success. It sold out in 2024. I tried to figure out how much money the tickets were and the attendance of these kinds of events. And it seems like the capacity might be around 500 to 600, maybe 700 people. Tickets were $90. So they definitely make a good amount of money from their convention as well. It seems like everything that these guys touch turns to gold. And this is why I think it's so important to enrich your data and create a very useful web asset rather than creating directories super quickly that don't offer a lot of value, because you see where it can lead and how big of a business this can be. I tried to find how much this website was making based on all the different monetization strategies, but there's so many different ways they're making money. It's a little bit difficult to track. So originally I thought that they were making a killing just with AdSense before I found all these different monetization methods. But you do have to keep in mind different niches yield different results with AdSense, and that's a huge factor. And gaming is actually one of the lowest RPM niches that you can go into, so you do need a lot of volume to make a lot of money. I even tried asking ChatGPT, which showed me this Reddit forum to begin with. It suggested that Board Game Geek's revenue exceeded $1 million, and that was 6 years ago. So I really wouldn't be surprised if this website was $5 to $7 million in revenue. That's just an educated guess based on what I'm seeing, but I could be pretty off. All I know is it's definitely over the $1 million mark. Is it likely that they are doing $5 million in revenue? I think that's highly likely. 10 million? Not really sure. Kind of a wild guess at that point. Real quick, how do we actually use Board Game Geek and the organic keywords that it's currently ranking for to look for our own directory niche ideas? One thing you can do in Ahrefs is you can try to find low competition keywords that have decent volume that they're not ranking on the first page for. And then you can try to do some research and see if it makes sense to create a hyper specialized directory, something that's really, really specific. And the idea here is that Board Game Geek is ranking for 849,000 keywords. It's not reasonable to expect that they're ranking on the first page for all of those keywords. So one thing you can do is, I went to Board Game Geek, I went to their organic keywords, and I entered these filters to show me the keywords that are getting a minimum of 5,000 monthly searches and that have a keyword difficulty of 20 at the maximum. So I went ahead and applied that. There's 2,600 keywords here. And here we can see that, connections game, which I'm not even sure what that is, but it's getting 863,000 monthly searches, and Board Game Geek is ranking 58. So that is 5th page on Google, 8 websites down. As just an example, I haven't researched how competitive it is to rank for Connections Game, but in theory, this is one method that should unlock new ideas to build directories in, because GameGeek is not ranking on the first page. Is there an opportunity for you to just create your entire website just dedicated to Connections Game and take advantage of some of this traffic? But I'm just showing you a way that you can find these really high search volume keywords and create your own version of Board Game Geek, but hyper specific. Look how many of these keywords get over 100,000 monthly searches. It should unlock ideas. And that's what I hope for you. So for the third website, we have atlasobscura.com. And this is actually a website for unique and offbeat tourist attractions around the world. So not the Leaning Tower of Pisa, not the Duomo in Italy, more of the local spots, the hidden gems and stuff like that. And this website is getting 1.1 million monthly visitors, much larger than I thought. I mean, I know people love finding kind of the hidden spots and local spots around the world when they're traveling. This shocked me a little bit. They were already pretty big 10 years ago. We can see 100,000 monthly searches back in 2015, and they've been really holding up and growing ever since then. They hit their peak in 2019, had some dips here and there. For the most part, they are in great health, I would say. They do have this pretty large dip right around July of 2024. There was a core update in August of 2024, so maybe they were affected by that. If you look at their 1-year chart, it's still pretty healthy. Let's look at the actual directory itself. I mean, right off the bat, we can tell, again, this is a very developed website and a brand, not just a website directory. So their actual directory is under places. So if we clicked on Canada, for example, we can see here that they have all sorts of unusual attractions in Canada. Kind of interesting that they're using unusual attractions Canada as their H1. I'm curious if that is the best way to go about it. This is their location page, and then this is their actual listing page right here. Good amount of photos here, name, address, coordinates, and website. And then we have a little description, some internal links. Actually, that's pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. There's a lot of ad placements here. But yeah, I mean, overall, if you look at this, they have good photos. They have a clean UI. It's a lot of the basic on-page SEO that I always include in my directories, but it's nothing crazy, right? I think Board Game Geek, the amount of enrichment that they went into for their listing pages was way more in-depth, way more impressive, but this is pretty simple. So these are all the different locations and countries that they're in, and it's interesting how they formatted this directory website. You can click United States. From here, you can click on states and territories, and then click on your state. From here, I guess you can click on specific cities and then find more local, unusual attractions in Mountain View. This is pretty thorough. I mean, I will say, even though their listing page was quite simple, they definitely have a ton of data. Look at this. They even have a partnership with Kayak to help people book their hotels, flights, and rental cars, which I'm sure they get a commission off of. Now we've noticed that they have this partnership. They have Google AdSense, shown by these ads right here. And they also have a book that they sell. They have their podcast and their newsletter. So similar to Board Game Geek, they have multiple monetization strategies. It's just really well built. I mean, it's a well built out brand and community, it seems like. Just gonna quickly see. Yep, so their podcast doing really well, 1.5K reviews, and they're actively pushing out new content. So let's take a look at their most visited pages. Their second most visited page is this guide for London. And this page is getting almost 16,000 monthly visitors and ranking for 10,000 keywords. That's insane. The keywords they're ranking for is unique things to do in London, unusual things to do in London. Yeah, this is the page. Again, a lot of directory websites, most times with a location-based programmatic directory, all the traffic is going to go to the location pages, not so much the actual listing page themselves. So that's why make sure to optimize both your on-page SEO and when you do go and get backlinks, these are the pages that you should be pointing your backlinks to juice them up a little bit. Quick note, they also have a leaderboard that shows the names of people who added the most places. They're giving community members a spotlight for helping them continue to build out this directory, bringing it back to their most visited pages, the location pages is where it's at. I don't even have to click into some of these to show you that these are the location pages. Things to do New York, things to do Ontario, things to do Los Angeles. It just continues to be the location pages that are what you should optimize for. When trying to figure out how much this website makes, I did find more monetization methods. So they do have their ads. They do have their partnership with Kayak. They also have this membership where people can pay to get essentially a badge on your profile. You can get a members only newsletter and you get fewer ads. It's interesting because you can choose how much you want to pay for the membership, and they very clearly say that you receive the same perks no matter how much you pay, but it's essentially asking to be a donation. At 1.1 million visitors a month, if only 1% of those people chose to contribute $5 a month, they would be making about $55,000 a month just from donations. In my head, I thought this was a $5 million a year website. It turns out this is a much bigger website than that. And I found this article that further proved that Atlas Obscura raised $20 million in 2019. And in the same year, they did $5 million in revenue. This year, which I believe this article is in 2023, they were on target to do $24 million in revenue. $15 million came from brand partnerships. I can only imagine it's 2025. They're possibly crossing that $30 million, $35 million threshold. And that means this is a massive business. And their directory is bringing in all that juice. They fall into the podcast, they fall into the newsletter, and some of them become part of the community. Overall, just extremely impressive, right? So those are 3 different website directories, one doing 500K a year, one doing probably 5 million a year, and this one closer to 35 million a year would be my guess. And yeah, they could be massive businesses. When I think about the future of directories and what they're going to turn into, I think websites like these are doing it exactly right. These websites didn't just stop at display ads, right? They built out an actual brand, a community. They have a newsletter, a podcast, a YouTube channel in a lot of these cases. And it's a good reminder that the foundational marketing strategy for all of these large websites is SEO. None of them ran paid ads. It was all SEO that was driving this traffic. But while SEO is the best for foundational traffic, getting a ton of visitors to your website, it's not necessarily the best for community building and getting people to feel like they're part of something bigger. I think in the future, the way that you hedge against AI is going towards community building. Yeah, it's really opened my eyes to different types of directories and how geared they are towards building community. It's inspiring to make these videos. I really enjoy it, and I hope that you found it interesting too. Thanks again for watching. Really appreciate the support, and we'll be answering any questions down below. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.